Hi, this is Laurie Wallin from Living Power Life Coaching, and this week is Valentine's Week. But the honest truth is, as Albert Ellis said, the art of love is largely the act of persistence, which means that the people that we love most can sometimes really push our buttons. We may be in families with people who are just about the most opposite person we could ever imagine spending time with. We love them dearly, and they're so hard to love. So what do we do in those situations? I have a child, two, who I adopted from foster care, who I adore and I admire for their tenacity and their courage, but they make me nuts sometimes. They really, really push my buttons because they're scared or because something's triggered one of their loss and grief patterns. Not easy people to love sometimes, so I get it. There are people in our lives that can be very, very challenging, whose relationships matter to us enough to make it through those times and to be able to love them anyway. How do we do that in a way that doesn't sacrifice who we are as people? We do it by, first of all, setting really good boundaries. We set boundaries in terms of the amount of time that we spend. Now, I have these children as my own daughters who live in my house, so the amount of time I spend with them is not really up to my control. But people who we interact with that aren't in our homes, we can decide if we're going to answer that phone. We can decide if we're going to schedule time to hang out with them or if we're going to have a season where there's a little bit of distance for a little while. So set some boundaries that encourage you and give you space to be able to put the energy you need to into it when you are with those people. The other thing we can do is to remember that the difficult relationship is a two-part thing. There's two people involved in this. They bring half the stuff to it, you bring half the stuff to it. And the great news is you're only the boss of half of that. So their half you can ignore. Your half, however, comes down to the fact of who are you in that relationship? Who do you want to be in that relationship? Who do you envision yourself being? If everything was ideal, if this was the relationship that you imagine in your mind, who are you in that relationship? And how do you act with that person? Are you a person who is supportive, encouraging, tells the truth, who has humility, who is strong but meek in terms of controlling that strength and not using it to, control the other person? Are you able to be affectionate with that person? Are you looking to be the kind of person who is loyal and who stands alongside that person over a period of time? Whatever adjectives come to mind when you think of yourself as the ideal person in that relationship, I want you to write those down, and I want you to decide every day, like when you're getting dressed, that you're going to put those on, especially right before you're going to interact with that person. Then you say, well, okay, if that's who I am, then what do I do? What do I do if I am being mature? I listen to their point of view first. I decide to give them the benefit of the doubt. I take a deep breath before flying off the handle. I do this every morning with my own kids. You don't know if they're going to wake up blah one morning or if they're going to be really pleasant. And so I wake up every morning and I remind myself that I am raising respectful, responsible, and fun to be around kids, that I am going to be supportive no matter what, that I am going to teach them the right things to do. That's who I am as their mom. Now, in the situations we have that are hard, that becomes very challenging, but it doesn't change who I am in that relationship. Remembering in those tough relationships who we are, who our ideal vision of ourselves is in that situation and in that interaction is, helps us to be able to take on that persona when our feelings and all our triggers are being pushed by that person. We can say, hey, wait a second, you can't make me someone who I'm not. I am a person with integrity, or I speak the truth, or I am gentle in how I talk or solve problems. Take those two things with you, and I hope that that will give you some tools to be able to feel more confident as you're interacting with and spreading the love to the people in your life, even the ones that make it kind of hard sometimes.